Hello and welcome. Let's get right into it with an honest truth. Overthinking is a silent killer. It doesn't make a scene like anger does, and it doesn't shout like depression, but it slowly and quietly destroys your joy from the inside out. The really awful part is that most people don't even realize they're doing it. They convince themselves they're just being careful or being smart or being prepared, but that's not the case. They're actually stuck, completely paralyzed, and lost inside their own heads. Why is this such an important topic, especially right now? Well, today's world is loud, it's fast, and it's incredibly overstimulating. You open your phone, and immediately you're bombarded with information, comparisons, judgments, and pressure. You were already thinking about what your friend said yesterday, and now you're also worrying about what some stranger posted online. Then you start spiraling, wondering, what if I fail? What if they don't like me? What if I say something wrong? What if they misunderstood what I said yesterday? What if I miss my chance? Before you know it, you're just sitting in your room, doing absolutely nothing, but you're mentally exhausted, as if you've just run a marathon. That's the trap of overthinking. It completely drains your energy, it steals your confidence, it ruins your sleep, it even damages your health. And worst of all, it stops you from actually living your life. You want to start a YouTube channel, but you overthink it. You want to practice speaking in English, but you overthink it. You want to send a simple message to someone you care about, but you overthink it. And by the time your thoughts finally settle down, the perfect opportunity has already passed you by. Overthinking is a thief, and if you don't put a stop to it, it will quietly steal your entire future. So, why do we overthink in the first place? We overthink because we desperately want to feel in control. We tell ourselves, if I just think about this long enough, I'll eventually find the perfect answer. But life simply doesn't give you perfect answers. Life gives you choices, and you either make a move or you miss out. Overthinking is a complete lie that your brain tells you, trying to convince you that if you keep thinking, you'll feel safe. But all it really brings is fear. So now let's talk about how to actually escape this mental prison. And we're not going to do it with cheap, quick fixes. We're going to use real, powerful, life-changing solutions that will stay with you forever. This video won't just help you stop overthinking. It will also improve your English, your mindset, and your entire life. Let's begin. Solution number 1, your mind lies. Let's start with the most important truth of all. Your mind lies to you. It doesn't do it because it wants to hurt you, but because it's trying to protect you, even if it's doing it in the wrong way. Your brain isn't designed to make you happy. It's designed to keep you alive. So, it will always prepare for danger, even when there isn't any. So, you start thinking, they didn't reply. Maybe they hate me. He looked at me weird. Maybe I said something wrong. I failed once. Maybe I'll fail again. I feel bad, so maybe something bad is coming. But all of this is just noise. It's not the truth. It's just fear talking. Here's the real truth. You don't actually know what other people are thinking. You don't know the future, and you don't know how something will end. But your mind acts like it does. It creates these completely false stories and then punishes you with them. That's why the very first step to killing overthinking is this. Stop trusting every single thought that pops into your head. Not all thoughts are facts, and not all feelings are the truth. Your brain might lie to you, but you definitely don't have to believe it. Once you truly realize this, you take your power back. Let me tell you a true story. Harry Houdini was the world's most famous escape artist. He could escape from any prison, any handcuffs, any chains. One day, he went to a small town and said to the police, "Lock me in your strongest jail. I will escape in 30 minutes." So they locked him in. Houdini just smiled. He had done this many times before. He took out a small tool hidden in his belt and started working on the lock. He tried again and again, left, right, up, down, but the lock just wouldn't open. 30 minutes passed, then an hour. He was exhausted, sweating, and angry. Finally, he just gave up. He leaned against the door, and it opened. The door was never actually locked. It was only closed. But Houdini believed it was locked, so he acted as if it was. The lesson here is that overthinking does the exact same thing. Your mind says, I can't do it. I'll fail. They don't like me. I'm not good enough. So you don't try, you don't move, you don't speak up. But just like Houdini, You're trapped by a complete lie. The door is not locked, you're not stuck, and you're not weak. It's just your mind telling you a false story. Your thoughts are not always true, so don't let a lie control your life. Push the door open, break the thought, and your freedom will be waiting for you. Solution number 2. Catch the storm before it grows. Overthinking doesn't explode like a bomb. It begins like a whisper. A small, quiet thought enters your mind. You ignore it, then it comes again and again. Then it grows arms, legs, a body, a voice, and before you know it, it's shouting in your head, and you feel completely helpless. The only way to break the cycle is to catch it early. The moment you realize you're overthinking, say, "This is not helping me. I'm not solving anything. I'm stuck. I need to stop." Now, that single sentence is like a sword. It cuts through all the noise. It's like stopping a train before it picks up any real speed, because the longer you stay stuck in that thought, the deeper the trap becomes. Imagine you sent a message to someone and they didn't reply. Thought 1, maybe they're busy. Thought 2, maybe they're ignoring me. Thought 3, maybe they're angry. Thought 4, what did I do wrong? Thought 5, why does this always happen to me? Thought 6, pain, guilt, and anxiety. And the real truth, they were just asleep, that's it. But your brain wrote an entire movie. That's why catching that first thought is everything. Interrupt the spiral before it even begins. Solution number 3. Empty your brain before it overflows. Have you ever seen a cup overflow? You keep pouring water in, and at some point, it spills everywhere. That's exactly what your brain does when you don't release your thoughts. They pile up, one after another, until there's no space left, and suddenly you feel incredibly heavy, but you don't even know why. So, here's the solution. Write them down. Take a pen, take a notebook, and write down exactly what you're thinking, and don't worry about being perfect, and don't do it for anyone else to read. Just do it for yourself. Let your brain breathe, because thoughts are so loud inside your head, but they become quiet on paper. Write what you're thinking, why you think it matters, what you're afraid of, and what outcome you wish for. And once it's all out, you'll notice something strange. You feel lighter, you feel clearer, because you stop being a prisoner of your own noise. This isn't just journaling. This is a mental detox. This is survival. If you don't express your thoughts, they will express themselves as stress, anxiety, and even sickness. So let them out. Your peace is hiding underneath them. Solution number 4. What if doesn't exist? Let's be honest. Most overthinking begins with 2 simple words. What if? What if I fail? What if they leave me? What if I embarrass myself? What if I never succeed? What if everything goes wrong? And here's the real problem. You're living inside a future that hasn't even happened yet, and it might never even happen. You're feeling pain from an event that doesn't exist. You're feeling rejection from conversation that never actually happened. You're feeling anxiety about a future that you created in your own imagination. That's why what if is the most dangerous question in your head. It creates entire movies and makes you feel like they're real. Let's take a simple example. Imagine a student who wants to speak in English for the very first time in front of a group of people. His mind immediately starts screaming. What if they laugh? What if I forget a word? What if my accent is bad? What if they think I'm stupid? Now stop. What actually happened? Nothing. He hasn't even opened his mouth yet. But in his head, he's already failed, and not just once, but 10 times. Now, he stays silent again. His confidence dies, and over time, so does his dream. That's the power of what if. So here's the truth. What if is not your friend. What if is not your future, and what if is not your reality. It's just your fear dressed up as a question. What if doesn't exist, so don't let it control a life that's waiting to begin. Solution number 5. Say the thought out loud. Overthinking is strong because it stays hidden. It whispers in your head, and your mind plays it like background music on repeat. But there's a strange trick that can completely destroy its power. Say it out loud. Speak the thought literally. Say, I think my boss hates me. I feel like I'm going to fail this test. I think no one loves me. Now, stop and listen. When you actually say the thought, it starts to sound small, weak, irrational, and even silly because your brain is emotional but your voice is logical. Let's take an example. You're thinking, what if they reject my job application? You say it out loud. I think I will be rejected. Now your brain goes, okay, and what will happen if that's true? You answer, I'll feel bad, but I'll try again. Suddenly, the fear is smaller and the storm is calmer. Why? Because when you speak a thought, it moves from the emotional part of your brain to the logical part. It becomes something you can actually manage, control, and understand. So, next time you're stuck in a mental loop, try this. Step 1, speak the thought. Step 2, listen to how it sounds. Step 3, ask, is this really worth all this fear? In most cases, the answer will be no, because the thought is never as scary as the silence around it. Solution number 6, stop trying to be perfect. Let's face it, one of the biggest reasons people overthink is because they're constantly chasing perfection. They want to say the perfect thing, look the perfect way, make the perfect decision, have the perfect plan, and get the perfect results. And the result? They do absolutely nothing, because nothing ever feels good enough, and the pressure of being perfect becomes heavier than the fear of actually failing. Let's take another example. A girl wants to start her own YouTube channel. She has ideas, passion, and a story to tell, but then, what if my background isn't good enough? What if my English isn't perfect? What if people don't like my voice? What if I make a mistake? So she waits. One day becomes 1 month, becomes 1 year, and her dream dies simply because she was waiting to be absolutely flawless. But here's the truth. Perfection is just fear in a beautiful disguise. People don't connect with perfect, they connect with real. Real words, real stories, real effort, and real growth. Nobody ever became great by being perfect. They became great by starting. So, kill perfection and choose progress, because done is always better than perfect, and the world needs you, not some perfect version of you that doesn't exist. Solution number 7, move your body immediately. Don't let the thought take over. When a thought enters your mind, your first instinct is to sit with it. You want to figure it out, so you keep thinking and thinking and thinking. But here's the truth. Most people don't realize that thinking harder doesn't actually bring answers. It just brings exhaustion. Overthinking is not a sign of intelligence. It's a sign of mental traffic, and when there's too much traffic, you can't move, you get stuck. Now listen very carefully. Your body is directly connected to your brain. The way you sit, stand, and move directly affects how you feel. When you overthink, your body becomes still. You freeze, your muscles tighten, your breathing gets shallow, and your face becomes tense. And without even realizing it, your body enters survival mode. You are now completely trapped in your head, and your body has joined the fear. That's why the fastest way to escape overthinking is to move your body. And it's not just because it's exercise, and it's not just because it burns calories. It's because motion interrupts emotion. Here's how. Stand up and walk around your room. Go outside and feel the air, do some jumping jacks, clean something, wash your face, stretch your arms and legs, or just jump up and down for 10 seconds. It sounds so simple, but it's completely life-changing, because when you move your body, you shift your focus, your brain stops spiraling, you start breathing deeper, and you become aware of your surroundings. You return to the present moment. Let's imagine someone sitting on their bed, worrying for hours. Why didn't they call? What if I messed everything up? What if this pain never goes away? Now imagine they stand up, put on some music, and start organizing their desk. 5 minutes later, they're maybe not smiling, but they're not drowning anymore. The storm is slowed down. That's the power of movement. Don't just sit there and drown in your thoughts. Stand up and interrupt the pattern. When the body leads, the mind will follow. Solution number 8. Replace thinking with doing, one tiny step at a time. Overthinking loves confusion. It feeds on indecision, and it tells you that you're not ready and that you need more time. Let's just think a little more, it says. But here's the brutal truth. You don't need more thinking. You need movement, and you need momentum. The brain can imagine 100 problems, but it can only solve one when you actually act. Let's say you want to start speaking in English. You think, what if I say the wrong word? What if people laugh? What if I freeze? So, you plan, you prepare, you overthink, and you do absolutely nothing. Here's what you should do instead. Forget perfection. forget approval, and forget the future. Just do one tiny thing. Speak one sentence out loud, record one voice note on your phone, or write one line in a journal. One small action is always more powerful than 1,000 perfect thoughts because it teaches your brain that we are not here to be afraid. We are here to move forward. The longer you sit, the more scared you get, but the moment you act, even a little, the fear loses its grip. Let's say you want to apply for a job, but you overthink the email, the resume, and finding the perfect sentence. Instead, just open your laptop, write the first line, and save the draft. That's it. Tomorrow, write the second line. That's how you beat overthinking, one small movement at a time. You don't need to finish the race today. You just need to take the very first step right now. Solution number 9, limit your decision time. Clarity lies in action, not delay. Many people believe that time brings clarity, so when they feel confused, they wait. They wait for the right moment, they wait for a sign, and they wait for everything to feel perfect. But time doesn't always bring peace. Sometimes, time brings even more confusion. You start with one simple question: should I message them or not? Then an hour passes, then 3 hours, and then you've written and deleted 5 different drafts. Now your heart is racing, and you're more stressed than ever. That's the poison of delayed decisions. The brain hates the unknown, so it keeps analyzing, keeps questioning, and keeps circling. But clarity doesn't come from thinking longer. Clarity comes from choosing faster and adjusting later. So what's the solution? Set a time limit. Tell yourself, I have 10 minutes to decide, then I move forward. And it's not because you're being careless. It's because you want peace. For example, you're overthinking whether to say yes to a new opportunity. Set a timer. Ask yourself, what do I really want? What's the worst that can possibly happen? Will this move me forward? Then decide, not tomorrow, not next week, but right now, because peace doesn't come from perfect decisions. Peace comes from chosen ones. Even a 70% decision brings more peace than a 100% overthought delay. Make the choice, move, adjust if needed, but don't sit in the fire waiting for the fear to disappear. Solution number 10. Focus on what you can control and let go of the rest. Overthinking often comes from trying to control the future, control people, control outcomes, and control everything, but the truth is, you simply can't. You cannot control what others think, control who stays or leaves, control the past, or control what will happen next month. So why suffer for what you don't control? Instead, shift all your energy to what you do control. Your actions, your response, your breath, your habits, and your focus. Let's imagine this. You sent a message to someone and they didn't reply. You think, why didn't they answer? Are they angry? Should I apologize? Should I send another message? But can you control their mood? Can you read their mind? No. So, you breathe, you take a walk, and you move on with your day. You weren't born to impress them. You were born to express yourself. So, stop replaying that moment, stop explaining your every move, and stop wondering if they like you. Instead, ask a much better question. Do I like who I am becoming? That answer will guide you to true peace. Solution number 12. Let go of perfection. Progress is much more powerful. Another silent killer of peace is the obsession with being perfect. People say, I can't start until it's perfect. I can't speak English until my grammar is 100% correct. I can't upload the video until everything looks completely professional. I can't apply until my resume is absolutely perfect. And what happens? They wait and wait and wait. And in this waiting time, opportunities are lost, confidence is lost, and the dream begins to fade, not because they failed, but because they never even started. Perfection is not your goal. It's your prison. Perfection tells you you're never ready. You're not good enough yet, and that you'll embarrass yourself. But here's what no one tells you. Progress is what builds greatness. Every confident speaker was once unsure. Every successful creator made terrible first videos, and every skilled writer wrote awful first pages. But they kept moving, they kept learning, and they chose action over anxiety. Let me give you a truth to remember forever. Done is always better than perfect. Starting is always better than waiting, and imperfect action is always better than perfect hesitation. So today, if your mind is telling you it's not perfect yet, answer back. I'm not here to be perfect. I'm here to be real. I'm here to grow. Let go of this pressure. You are allowed to be messy. You are allowed to be learning, and you are absolutely allowed to show up, even when you're not 100% ready, because you will grow by doing, not by just thinking. Solution number 13. Speak the thought out loud and expose the lie. Overthinking is powerful because it lives inside your head where no one else can hear it. It whispers, "You're not good enough. They're all judging you. You'll fail just like before." But here's what happens when you say that thought out loud. It sounds weaker, smaller, and less real. Let's say you're thinking, "I'm a failure. I'm worthless." Now say it out loud. "I believe I'm a failure." Now stop and ask yourself, is that actually true? Really? Is there any real proof? Or is this just fear talking? By simply speaking the thought out loud, you give yourself the chance to actually question it. You move from emotion to awareness, and from blind belief to clarity. This is so powerful for one reason. Most thoughts in your head are exaggerated, but you never realize it because you never actually hear them with your ears. Speaking the thought exposes it. It forces you to face it, and it gives you a chance to actually replace it. So, here's a practical tip. Next time you catch yourself overthinking, say, "Okay, let me speak this out loud." Then ask, is this thought helping me? Is this thought kind? Is this thought even true? If the answer is no, then release it and replace it with a better one. "I'm learning, I'm growing, I made it through worse, and I can definitely handle this," because when your inner voice becomes kind, overthinking begins to fade. Solution number 14. Look at facts, not feelings. Overthinkers often trust their emotions way too much. They feel nervous, so they think something bad is about to happen. They feel guilty, so they think they must have done something wrong. They feel afraid, so they assume danger is near. But emotions are not always accurate. They are signals, not the actual truth. Let's take an example. A student finishes an English speaking test. He feels absolutely terrible, and he says, "I messed up. I was so nervous. I'm sure I failed." But the fact is, he answered 90% of questions, he used good vocabulary, and he kept speaking even when he made a mistake. The facts say he did well, but the feeling says he failed. Which one is true? The facts. Your emotions are important, but when you overthink, emotions become wild and exaggerated. They make you see things that don't actually exist. That's why you need to stop and ask, what do I know for sure? What is the actual truth? Not just the fear. Imagine you text someone and they don't reply for hours. You feel ignored and you feel rejected. But the fact is, they were asleep, they were busy, or they were just offline. That's why overthinking stops when you look at the evidence instead of just the emotion. So, next time you feel panic, shame, or fear, pause and say, what are the actual facts here? That one simple question can save you hours of anxiety. Solution number 15. Don't be afraid to ask for help. You're not weak, you're human. Overthinking is often a private battle. You sit quietly, you smile in front of others, and you say, "I'm fine." But inside, you're stuck in a storm of thoughts. You cry in silence. You overthink every single conversation. You replay every mistake. You worry about the future, and you constantly question your worth, but you never say anything. You stay quiet because you think they won't understand. "I don't want to bother them. I should just handle this alone. If you ask for help, you're worried you'll appear weak." This silence becomes like a prison, and you're carrying all that pain all by yourself. But your shoulders were never designed to carry that much weight on their own. So here's the truth, and you need to hear it clearly, gently, and deeply. You are not weak for asking for help. You're wise. You're brave. You are human. Even the strongest people stumble and fall. Even the happiest people cry. Even the most successful people struggle. Nobody makes it completely alone. Nobody is meant to navigate this life completely alone. Imagine this. You're walking through a forest and you're lost. There's no cell service, no sense of direction. You hear someone else nearby, and you see them. They know the way. They've walked this path before. Would you stay silent? Would you suffer longer just to appear strong? No way. You'd ask, can you help me find the way? That's what asking for help really is. It's not weakness, it's wisdom. It's saying, I care about my future more than I care about my pride. Whether it's a friend, a teacher, a family member, a therapist, or even a complete stranger who will listen without judgment, speak up, reach out. Let someone hear the storm that's raging inside you. Because sometimes just one conversation, one reply, one moment of connection can stop a lifetime of suffering. And even if they don't have all the answers, just the act of speaking out lightens the weight. You are not alone. You are never alone. And you are never meant to fight every single battle in silence. Help isn't that far away, but you have to take the first step. Say the words, I'm struggling. I need support. I don't want to go through this alone anymore. You'll probably be surprised by how many people genuinely care. And even if nobody listens, I will say this to you right now. You are strong. You are important. You are not broken. You're just overwhelmed. And that's perfectly okay. I believe in your healing. I believe in your courage. And I believe in your future. So take that step. Let yourself be seen. Let yourself be heard. Let yourself be helped because you matter. So now you've heard all 15 powerful, real, human ways to stop overthinking. Not fake advice, not cheap tips, but deep emotional truth written specifically for you, not for some faceless crowd. And as you've watched this video, something important has happened. You haven't just learned how to stop overthinking. You've done something far more valuable. You've started a journey back to yourself. You've remembered that your thoughts are not necessarily facts, that your fears don't automatically dictate the future, that your mind isn't automatically your enemy, that your life doesn't automatically belong to your past. And even more than that, you've taken one more step toward becoming something greater. Because here on this channel, you don't just improve your English, you don't just learn grammar, you don't just listen to sentences. Here, you learn how to heal. You learn how to grow. You learn how to become the strongest version of yourself. And you learn it all in English, step by step, word by word, day by day. So, if this video touched you, if even one small part helped you, if you felt seen, understood, or supported, then don't just keep it to yourself. Share it. Comment. Let someone else know that they're not alone. And most importantly, subscribe. Not for me, but for you, because this is your space, your story, and your journey has only just begun. Thank you for watching. Thank you for feeling. And thank you for choosing healing over silence. Now go live your life, not inside your thoughts, but inside your truth. You are free now. You are not your overthinking anymore. This is your new beginning.